What's going on, guys? Welcome to another SQL in Python tutorial video. Where we left off, we actually made the database. Now let's go ahead and make a table, give the parameters of that table, and then even maybe insert some data into that table. So the first thing that we want to go ahead and do is let's do show databases. This should get a good idea where we are again. So as you can see, we've got that default, and then we've got tutorial. We want to go into tutorial, so we're going to say use, and then whatever your username is. Mine's beginner account, $, and then the table name. Mine was tutorial. So now it's going to say database change. So now you're in that database. Now you could use describe and see what it is, but it's going to be empty for now. So now what we want to do is create a table in that database. So to create a table, you're going to go create table, then give the table name. Mine's going to be Taula, and cookies for whoever figures it out. Now the next thing is you want to give the names of the columns and then the data types of those columns. So we're going to say the first column is going to be time, so we're just going to throw Unix time in here. Now a lot of people, what they're going to do is make the first column an auto-incrementing or a self-incrementing key, and that's going to be their primary key. For me, look, I mean, I use time series data for everything, so I just use the time in Unix form as the first column, and that's my own little auto-incrementing key. If you want to be official and use everyone's pro tip, you can make an auto-incrementing key if you want. I'm just notifying you that I'm making the conscious decision not to. So time is going to be an int, and then we're going to allow it to be 13 long, just simply because like normally it's like I think 11 something characters, but we're just going to throw like some random numbers in there. So the next thing that we're going to do is once we've defined time, we're going to go ahead and say the next column is a username column. In the username column, we're going to make that a varchar, and that's just going to be a variable character. So if you just made it like car, it would require that the data in that column would always be 20 long, whereas if you make it varchar, it doesn't have to be 20 long, it can be 5 long, and it won't like force it to still be 20. So we'll use varchar there, and then the next column we're going to make it a tweet, and then we're going to do the same thing, varchar, and with a max of course 140. So that's how you create the table. So let's go ahead and throw out our little semicolon here. All you poor Python programmers, man, you have a hard time with SQL. Anyway, query OK, 0 rows affected, of course, because no rows were actually affected. So now we're done. So now, just as a quick aside, other data types, you can have a date, text, blob, set, enum, and also float. And they're pretty much all the same as far as their data type. Float's the only funky one where the first digit or the first number represents like how many digits there are, and the second one represents how many decimal points. But anyway, maybe we'll talk about that later, but for now we'll keep it basic. So now what we can do once we've done that is, well, we've got the table made, so the first thing you can do is a command called show tables, so we can see Taula is indeed there, and then we can also describe Taula and figure out like what this table is all about. So there's this little description of the table, all the fields, the type, null if they're primary key or not, default, extra if they have auto-incrementing, etc. So that's that. Now our goal is eventually to do all of these SQL queries within Python and all that, but there's going to be some times where, one, you want to know how to do it by hand. Also, every query that you write within Python is going to be an SQL query, so it's going to be the same stuff we're writing out right now. The only difference is if you want to say you want to write a variable, there will be a little subtle change, but nothing too difficult to make the shift for. Plus, whenever you do, especially like deletes, sometimes I prefer to do a delete by hand, especially if it's like a tricky one. So you just want to know this stuff. So anyway, not wasting your time. Insert into, and that's going to put data into a table. And now you need to say what table. So we're going to say Taula for my table, whatever you called yours. You can call it whatever. Values. And then in here we're going to insert the values in the order of column. Now again, later this will change whenever we insert, instead of hard-coded values, variables, but for now we'll just write it out. So we're going to just put data in here like this, Now in here, this is an int, so there are going to be no quotations around what we say. So we're going to say 13854199969 as a Unix timestamp. That's that. Next is our username, and our username here is just going to be CentDex. And then we're going to say a tweet, and this will be welcome to my tutorial. And as always, don't forget your semicolon, because you will. Query OK, one row affected, all set. So now what we can do is let's insert a couple more things. So I'm just gonna, to make it easy, hit this. We'll change it. We'll say this occurs 1 second later, so the end will be 70. We'll still use the name CentDex. And the tweet, we'll change up the tweet. This tweet will be, these are all real tweets, by the way. Wow, thanks, @Obama. You are right, these tutorials rock. His words, not mine. So that's another one. And then finally, let's do one more tweet just to give us some data to work with. So 1 more second later, I got this tweet from another guy. You guys might know him. And this one is @Bill Gates. Thanks, Bill. I know him on a first name basis. Oh, I respect him though, so I'll capitalize his name. Thanks, Bill, for the job offer as VP, but I want to keep ops open. So that's my tweet back to him. He offered me a vice president job. Anyway, done. Query done. So now we're done. So now, if we want to see our data, we can run a select command here, and we'll just say select asterisk for select all from, and then we want to select that from Taula. And now we can see the contents of our database. So the first one was welcome. Next one was me chit-chatting with Obama and just saying he's right in his thoughts. And the final line was me turning down Bill Gates' job offer. So, those are just the basics of creating the database, or creating the table rather, and then inserting some data into that table. Now in the next video I'm going to be talking about how to make some updates to this table, not anymore inserting, but updating, deleting, and retrieving data. So anyway, stay tuned for that video. As always, thanks for watching, thanks for the support and subscriptions, and until next time.